Champagne B, and you're here with Black Business Life, where we get up with our Black business owners, our Black entrepreneurs, and our Black startups. And this is their platform to share their stories, their inspirations, and anything else that they want to share. Again, I am Miss Champagne B. If you're not following me, check me out at the Single Gal Guide on Instagram, and also check out my site, www.singlegalguide.com. I have stories and articles and inspirations for the single gal. Also, make sure you're following Black Business Live, because this is where all of this will be posted. So check us out, follow, like us, and don't forget to subscribe, because we want you to be notified for every time that we have a new video released. So today, we have a wonderful Black business owner with us. We have Mr. Jonathan Allen. How are you doing today?
Good. What about you?
Living a dream, right? Is that what they say?
Right. As long as your dream. As long as your dream is good. Yeah.
We're about to talk about dreams today.
Right.
I feel like that's where we're going. Focus on that, right?
All right.
So, tell me about your business. What is it that you do?
Okay, no problem. So we are Allen Financial Solutions .biz, and we are a company that focuses on credit restoration and financial literacy. So the foundation of what we do is credit repair, where we leverage the Fair Credit Reporting Act of 1970 that gives consumers the right to dispute anything negative on the credit bureau. Okay, that's the foundation of what we do. And also, we also add identity theft protection in that, where customers can have their identity protected. We add credit monitoring services as well. We have the opportunity to get your will and trust and power of attorney created at the same time. Budgeting tools, savings tools, anything that a consumer would need to, restore, rebuild, and protect their finances. We want to give you a one-stop shop in our protection plan and membership.
Okay, so you're helping people repairing credit is one of the things that you do.
Yep.
A lot of people aren't aware that they can repair their credit. They get down to a hole and they realize that they can't get out of it.
Right.
Their services, and I'm trying to figure what's the best way that I could say this. What are some of the things that you offer? Like, how can you help people with their credit repair if they're not sure if they need help?
Yeah, see, I never always assume people need the credit repair services. Before I talk to anybody about actually enrolling in the program, I want to see what the issue is first, because some people may not necessarily need credit repair. They may have an issue with budgeting. They have an issue with identity theft and things of that nature. So I try to get an idea of what they need, and I also try to get an idea of what their goals are. So, because credit repair is a process, okay? It takes time, and that I try to get an understanding. So, are you looking to buy a house? Do you want to buy a car? And so what's the time frame of that process? Because when we dispute the credit bureaus, right, by law, the Fair Credit Reporting Act gives them 45 days max to respond to us. So this is not an overnight process. And that's why I encourage people to start now versus later, because credit is better when you fix it now than wait until you need it.
So, and I have another question about this. I know a lot of people, they ruin their credit, and they just why is credit good? Why should we worry about having good credit?
Wow. I guess a better question would be, why not? So much what we do in this country is based on credit. And I tell people, for a base understanding, credit means credibility. So it's your reputation about money, and do you pay people back? You can't. I know some places, obviously, you can't buy a house without good credit. Buying a car is possible, but you're going to pay probably more interest with bad credit. Me personally, I've been in finance for 13 years, and though my job really wanted to hire me, the last step was pulling my credit. Even after an internship, even after I performed well, even after my GPA, all that stuff, I even had my offer letter, and they still told me, before we hire you officially, you have to pull your credit. I had a friend of mine last week tell me he's in the Army. His goal is to be on the officer side of the Army. And he was like, man, I got to start now, because to be an officer, they're going to pull my credit. Wow. So it affects so much of what we do. Here's another thing. So people don't realize this, but some of your insurance rates for houses and car insurance are based on credit. the insurance companies are now using your FICO score behind the scenes to give you your credit rates. So it's deeper than this driving history or something like that, or risk. Because here's the thing, credit shows your risk, you know, and a company who's dealing with finances and getting paid back, our job, but their job is risk mitigation, not risk avoidance. And that FICO score and your credit report can kind of give them an idea of your future habits based on your past habits.
So it's not just about can you purchase things with your credit. Now credit is important for you to even get employed and to
Possibly.
certain, you know, legal things like insurance.
Yes. Yes.
So how did you get into this field? Like what made you go this route?
So I've been in financial services for 13 years with a company called Caterpillar Financial. And I spent 5 of those years as a credit analyst. So a credit underwriter or a loan officer, it's called different things, different places. So a bank would say loan officer and things like that. But basically my overall job in those 5 years was to take a person's information, both personal and business, and basically look at their credit scores or credit reports, their financial statements and whatnot. And I would have to analyze their risk based on those numbers and the information presented in those documents, and make a decision on whether or not to give them money. And what I noticed over and over and over again, people had bad credit, 1, and 2, when I told them that I had to decline them, they had no idea why I declined them, because they haven't even looked at their credit in years. Because they were using cash so much. And then when they needed, they spending $2,000 here, $2,000 there on certain things, it was fine. But when they needed 40 and 50 grand right away, they needed credit. And what I noticed that a lot of businesses couldn't start because they didn't have the good personal credit, because your personal credit is the foundation of your business credit. So I realized then that there was a problem. I was then relocated to Kansas City from Tennessee, and I'm out here with no family and no friends, so I had a lot of free time. So the question to ask myself was this: what can I do with my current skill set to generate more income outside of my job? And that's kind of why I failed, because not only for the purposes of money, but to truly help people out. Declining someone is a hard thing to do. We call someone on the phone and you tell them that their loan is declined. It's hard. But then when they tell you that they need that loan to run a business that supports their family, and that's their only source of income to feed themselves, it's hard. When you get a call from a trucker on the side of the road and way out somewhere who blew an engine on his truck, he needs 40 grand right away. You have to decline that person based on bad credit. It's hard. So I want to get in front of that issue. And that's my whole goal with this business, is to help people mitigate the risk of being declined so they can build their lives on the foundation of credit.
So in starting your business, did you find it was relatively easy for you to get it up and running, or did you have to endure some trials and tribulations? And if so, can you give us an example of something that you had to overcome?
Absolutely. I think the first thing I had to overcome was time management. So being that I'm still a full-time employee, I still work a 9 to 5, which is very busy. I'm on the road a lot. So the first biggest challenge was, how do I carve out that time? Because when you have a second job, you're on a clock again. So you have to check in, you clock in, you clock out. So it's like being in school. Like the bell rings, change classes. So when I had a second job, because prior to being in Kansas City, I was in Nashville and I had 5 jobs at one time. So outside of Caterpillar Financial, I worked for 5 different catering companies. So I was always working. So I knew I had the hustle. But the challenge in the beginning was just the discipline of setting those same parameters to work my business. Sitting down from 5 to 10 or 7 to 11, saying, this is my time for my business. This will not be a time for TV. This will not be a time for Facebook. This will not be a time to talk to that friend who needs advice again that I gave last week. This is a time for my business. So it's still an ongoing challenge, because I still travel a lot. So still trying to find time and create the space to really work that business for my clients.
So is there any type of apps, or how do you What do you use to ensure that you manage your time well and that people, as I like to call it, do not hijack your time?
Yeah, I'm pretty old school. Um, I'm pretty old school. I have a daily planner that I keep, that I write things down in. Absolutely, daily planner. And then after I write it down, commit it to memory, I use the trusty iPhone for a reminder, and that's kind of my process. I set the times, and they're non-negotiable. So that helps me to, even if I'm not actually helping clients at the moment, I'm reading about credit, I'm reading about home ownership, I'm reading about something, or listening to a podcast about finance. Even if that time period is not spent talking to a person, I'm trying to feed myself the information that I need for my clients, because at this point, it's not about the people because they're out there and they need it. At this point, it's about giving them the right information, because after they get their credit restored, then what? So one of the things I show my clients is this, okay? This is a calculation of how FICO is broken down. And what I realized that if I was taught this in grade school, I probably would have had better habits, because like one thing I tell them that, your pay history is 35% of your FICO score. So one late payment can knock you down 50 to 100 points. Just one, just that easy. Credit usage, like credit card usage and things like that, that's 30% of your FICO score, right? So for someone who's brand new to this FICO thing and credit and understanding the numbers behind it, I make it simple. I talk to them in the terms of school and taking tests. So I say, if FICO was a test and you messed up on your payment history, you lost 35 points on the FICO test.
Hey.
So what that equates to in the real world, and whether it's first grade or 12th grade, 35 points from 100, you almost at a D. In some schools, you're at an F. So you already fell in that game. And so a lot of people have a few things going on. They have slow pay history, right? And then they're using their credit cards to supplement that history of paying slow. And then they have high credit usage. So now you got 35% that you're doing bad in, plus 30 more percent. So you're currently right now failing the FICO test. So as a lender, my first and foremost thing that I look at always when I was reviewing someone's credit profile was their actual payment history. Because I look at it like this: if you're not paying someone on time right now, how can I trust you to pay me on time right now? It's all about trust. And I've heard a lot of sob stories in that, but unfortunately, I have to go by the facts and data. Because someone is going to be reviewing this at some point. We get audited from that level. And the way I approve these deals has to be, if someone comes behind me and looks at it, they say, okay, Jay, I see how you got there. So it's never personal. It's always business in that regard. But being that I'm on the credit side as well, I can help my clients. Hey, when you walk to that bank, they're going to look at these things first and foremost. That's why it's important to get things removed from your credit, because as a lender, as a creditor, when I pull your report, I don't see these things. Now, you can still owe these things. You can negotiate outside, but you want off your credit report.
Right.
And we also offer what's called Credit Builder, because a lot of people don't know how to build credit, and they think that having your credit restored is the end all be all, but it's not. And the way I equate it to them is this: very simple. I love simple metaphors or examples. Repair is like a oil change. When you take your car to get an oil change, they take out the old, nasty, filthy dirt oil, but you can't leave right then, because if you do, your engine will blow. And then replace the old oil with new, fresh oil. So while you get your credit fixed, we're giving you what's called Credit Builder. Credit Builder is a database of credit information on how to build your credit. So while you're getting it fixed over here, we're also giving you a budgeting tool. So you're budgeting, you're having your credit restored, you're having your identity protected, and you should be studying this credit information, and you learn how to build at the same time. You have your identity protected, and you have your credit monitored. And hopefully you're using our savings tools as well for your future goals. Because what I've learned about money is that you got two options. Either it tells you where to go, or you tell it where to go. And that's really what I think it comes down to long term. That was a bit of a long answer, so I apologize. I get a bit excited about the topic, so forgive me.
No, that's that passion we need to see. We need to see people being in love with what they're doing. Before, when we started, we talked about dreams and living the dreams, and a lot of people, unfortunately, aren't living their dreams because they, don't think that they can. So the fact
Right.
that you're doing, something that you love to do.
Right.
I'm here for it, man.
Thank you.
So let's switch gears a little bit because we talk about financial stuff and credit, but you are also a business owner who graduated from an HBCU. Is that correct?
I am. That's right. Aggie Pride.
Where?
Aggie Pride. North Carolina A&T.
Aggie Pride. Yeah.
Aggie Pride. Aggie born, Aggie bred.
Yeah. So did you learn about being an entrepreneur when you went to college, or was that something that you've always wanted to do, or where did you get the bug from?
It's funny you say that because I kind of feel like in college, I lost that bug. In college, I think I was more so like, man, I want to be the CEO of somebody's company. I'll live overseas. I'll go this place and that place. And but prior to college, I was always doing entrepreneurial stuff. I was a little kid that I would go to the grocery store and I would buy chewing gum or bubble gum. I bought Bubblicious, Bubblicious. It came 5 in a pack. It was like 45 cents for a pack. I would take that pack of gum, I would sell each piece of bubble gum for $0.25. So, and then I would take that money I made from bubble gum and go buy more bubble gum. And I'd do that over and over and over. I was flipping that bubble gum over and over again. And, Twizzlers and things like this. I always knew about profit margin and how to reinvest my money, not really understanding from a book sense what I was doing, but definitely understanding how it worked. And when I got to college, I was exposed to entrepreneurs in terms of party promoters. I had a friend who was actually a professional clown before college, making great money. But I wasn't in that spirit. I was more so I wanted to be this corporate guy forever. And then got into corporate America and started to realize, man, this may not be my dream long term. And I started to realize too that with each promotion comes, more tasks or more ties to certain things, and sometimes less freedom. So I quickly realized that multiple streams of income was definitely a must. And then I started being exposed. I started to seek out different environments, different mentors, people on YouTube and things like that. And I started to realize that, hey, a lot of people who are really living their dreams have more than one stream of income. And that's kind of how I backed into that. So College Wizard wasn't an incubator for me in terms of thinking about owning my own, but the drive, the work ethic, the long nights in the library, the hustle, because high school wasn't really that challenging overall. But college was rough. It was a new environment, it was new people, it was new information. So I learned that I can learn if I apply myself. And I apply that same energy to now to be an entrepreneur. So I spend a lot of time by myself reading on YouTube still and on podcasts. I'm a podcast junkie. So that's kind of how I connect the two in terms of just hustle and grit.
So how your experience going to an HBCU? Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
It was beautiful. It was. So where I grew up was a town that's probably predominantly Caucasian, and my high school was too. So going to A&T, at first it was like, whoa, it was a lot of Black people in one place. I had never really been exposed to it. But it was just a sea of Black love. It's how I would say that, amongst each other, it felt like brothers and sisters, and we could definitely relate. And the conversations that we had were of past experiences that matched. Even someone from New York and someone from North Carolina can have the same conversation and same connection, but still be different. We have different cultures and different upbringings, but it was just it's kind of like, it was like a baptism of Black power, honestly. I mean, it was definitely a beautiful experience.
Wow. So now you're speaking to your HBC alumni or those who are currently attending one. What is the what kind of advice or guidance would you give to those who are about to leave college, going
Oh man,
to graduate?
don't forget why you went to college. I think so. The best thing about college and the worst thing about college are the same thing. It's freedom. And I think that's in any school, whether it's HBCU or any school across the country. I think the freedom is where a lot of people lose their focus. And I went into A&T knowing that I came to finish, and I wanted to make my aunt and my grandparents and my mother who's passed away, I wanted to make everybody proud. So don't forget why you went to college, number one. Number two, I promise you this. Happy hour on Fridays isn't going nowhere. It's always going to be there. First Fridays, Thursdays, all these events that you can go have fun, they're not going nowhere. I spent a lot of time in the library. I missed a lot of parties because I knew they were not going anywhere. This big party that's going to be the party, it's not going nowhere. That person that you want to date in college is okay, but just remember why you're there and stay focused while you're there.
So keep partying to the minimum.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a balance. I definitely had a good time, and I definitely have some great memories. But I'll be honest. I mean, I called the library my club. It was called Bluford. I called it Club Bluford, and my friends knew when they saw me packing my backpack. Whether it was 9 p.m., 10 p.m. at night, where I was going. I was going to Club Bluford for the night.
Look at you getting out there hanging out, but you stayed focused. So that's
yeah.
People can't handle it, but it goes back to your time management skill as well.
Right. But then you got to find your tribe. I feel like in the library over time, I kept seeing the same faces over and over again. And it was discouraging at first. I felt like I was the only person there doing this grind, but then I started seeing people on the same grind, and they became my tribe. So I would tell people, you might not be able to necessarily find your tribe on purpose, but as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to find people on that same path. And my tribe were not always business majors. Some of them were nursing majors I met in the library. Some were engineering majors I met in the library. So it wasn't about necessarily the same discipline, but the same grind. And they became my library friends. People I knew, I was sitting in the library every night in the same seats, the same place, the same table. It just became my tribe after a while. And it's like a support system.
Something that a lot of people are missing or they just don't have is that support system. So
right.
To hear that, I'm hopefully people have these lights clicking off and going off and say, oh, okay, this is what I need. I understand that, because people will listen and hear what you're saying, but when it comes to execution, that's another answer.
Right.
But so thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Allen. Tell us
Thank
if
you.
you're interested in getting involved or getting help with our credit or financial issues, or just want to be better at finances, how can people contact you?
Absolutely. So I can be reached on Instagram at JAY83 Allen, ALLEN. On Facebook, it's just J Allen, JAYALLEN. Then my website is going to be allenfinancialsolutions.biz. And they can also, my email is take control credit. Take control credit, spelled all the way out, at gmail.com. I'm a firm believer, either you take control or you'll be controlled.
Okay. Take control of your finances, you guys. Don't wait around.
Right.
Just bury their head in the sand. They feel like it's going to go away, and it doesn't. It just going to get worse and worse as time goes on.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Allen. We appreciate you, and we will be reaching out to you to get that help and we need, because in the Black community, finances are very important, and unfortunately, we skipped out on that lesson. We're not taught that lesson, and we need that lesson in order to circulate the Black dollars.
Right, right. I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you
Guys,
very much.
check out Mr. Allen. Make sure you follow him, subscribe to him, support this brother in his business endeavors, because we need that. We need the support. Also, make sure you subscribe, like, comment on our video, share it, because we are really trying to get our businesses out here, and we want to make sure that we build this community. And of course, we cannot build this community without you guys. We need you guys. So remember, follow us on Instagram, Black Business Life. Check us out. We'll be out with a new video next week. Don't forget, if you like what you see, let us know. If you don't like what you see, please let us know. Thank you again. And bye-bye.
Thank you.